Hello, people. We are back in the building. Act 2, the podcast, episode 168. And we are here. It is your boy, International Walk.
It's your chocolate
As
girl,
you can
Tosh.
see.
Excuse me, that was my turn after that.
I'm sorry. It's your boy, International Walk. As you can fucking see.
And it's your chocolate girl, Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
You are a little chocolate.
You
What's
can
with
see.
the voice, though? Now you sound raspy.
No, this is my sultry chocolate
See,
voice.
that's what I was about to say. Sultry.
When I'm chocolate, I'm sultry.
Sultry sounds
Should I say
raspy.
that for you?
Yeah, sultry's for me. Not
Hey,
for
y'all.
We are back in the building. This is episode 168. You guys can catch us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. Type us in any of those platforms, and y'all gonna see these lovely faces pop up. Let's get right to the show. How are you?
I am
How you doing?
okay.
What's going to be like?
I'm okay. Mentally.
As I say it, I'm sorry not to cut you off. As I say at work when I don't see people for a while, how they treating you?
Well, you're treating me amazing. Work is treating me good. And God is always amazing. Mentally, I'm going to say I am a 9. I could be worse. I could be better.
I'm proud of that.
But I'm grateful that I am a 9. My grandfather passed away this week, and I know I've talked about, him being
Rest
sick
in peace, Gramps.
some weeks ago. And, it's one of those things that is happening, and it wasn't sudden. So I think that takes away some of the sting. If I think about him too long, it's crazy because all my memories of him are great memories. If I think about him too long, it makes me cry, but just at the great memories. But I don't want to, go too much into that. But I'm a 9, and I'm grateful that I'm a 9 and that I'm not worse. 2 days ago, I probably was a 7. Yesterday I probably was an 8. Today I'm a 9. So I'm grateful for the tools that I have. I'm extremely grateful for the God that I know and the husband that he has blessed me with. Financially a 9, always room for improvement, but grateful for the blessings that God has bestowed upon us and allow us to bestow to others. And work is a 10. Work is really good. Got a couple adventures coming up this week. One my baby not too happy about, but it's work. It ain't fun stuff, but it's work. I'm trying to get him to dip out with me and meet me. We can play strangers at the hotel.
You know how fucking lost I get driving somewhere by myself?
Catch the damn train. But okay. And then physically I'm a 9. I feel like I should feel great.
Them caps.
But every now and then my knees remind me
Them caps.
my knees, and I've been working out, even on days that yesterday I couldn't go to the gym, but I was on my feet 90% of the day. And somebody even asked me if I wanted a chair, and it was a chair behind me. I was like, no, I have one, I'm cool. She was like, oh, okay. But kind of looking at me like, well, why the hell you stand up? Because I just wanted to stand up. I know that's not physically working out, but I just didn't want to be sitting on my butt. And what I was doing, it wasn't weird for me to be standing, but I guess most people like to sit if they can. And I was fine with standing.
Most people are lazy, sit down at work.
Well, I didn't want to say that,
That's kind of what we conform to. You go there, desk, chair. So you kind of think you sit down at work. When those new desks came out, people were like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, the standing desk. Yeah, I was good with standing, just because I just felt even if I could take a couple steps here and there just to kind of not be sedentary. So I am a 9, 9, 10, 9.
It's what's up.
How are you?
I'm good. Mentally, I am a 9. Hearing you say you was a 9 boost me up because I was an 8. But, I feel what you feel. And I'm a 9. Work is, work this week contributed to the mental. Just a stressful week so far. And it's only midweek. So I'm glad that this is we're getting there. Finances is a 9. Always going to leave room for some growth. Actually, I'm going to say it's an 8 so we can leave room for a lot of growth. We're going to leave room for 2-point growth. Work is a solid 9. Yeah, this place is really, really moving. I got more videos coming too. Just hadn't posted them yet, but I got them. So y'all will see the place step by step. Physicality, I feel like a 10. Yeah, I feel good. I feel strong. Feel great. So yeah, I'm a little hoarse, as you can hear. That's why my voice keeps skipping. But I feel great other than that.
I was going to say, you know what? When a woman, well, I can't speak for other women. When my voice is hoarse, I feel like I sound sexy. When your voice is hoarse, it makes me feel like, oh, what's wrong with my baby? Because I like your normal voice, but
really?
It makes me feel like you sick. Like,
but see, this to me sounds better. I guess because it's different. Because you know, I guess like you hate your own voice or whatever. Or
I mean, it's different. I don't hate the way you sound, but
no, your own voice.
I know.
Like
but
when you hear yourself on a recording or something, do you like the way you sound?
I think I'm used to it because I talk so much and I have to talk so much. Or better yet,
if you sing like karaoke, do you like the way you sound, like your voice?
Well, singing is completely different, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm
Talking
saying?
Is like,
so when
that's
you hear
me.
it, you wake up and it's like, oh, I'm a little raspy. That sounds different.
Yeah, you like,
and you clear your throat and you're like, oh, I'm still like this.
Yeah. What's your wows and woes for this week?
My woe is that Grandpa Jimmy died. So that was my woe. You know, like I said, I feel what you feel. Plus, I knew him, so you know, it made me, like you said, it wasn't out of the blue thing. But when I got the call from you, it made me like just sink, like damn. So I felt it too. So that was my woe. My wow is that, you know, you're just feeling better, and you know, again, I feel what you feel. We're like a unit. And we don't have no kids. It's just us. And what you carry, I carry. So
we don't have no kids in our home.
Yeah. In our home. But what you carry, I carry. And, you know, if you're a 7, I'm a 7. If you're an 8, I'm an 8. And if need be, I can make myself a 10 to pour into you and bring you up. But, you know, I feel what you feel. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. How about you? What's your wows and woes? Ups and downs, stops and goes.
Well, of course, my woe is my grandfather passing. And, you know, again, like I said, it's one of those things where he was not doing well, you know, for some time. So I knew that it was coming, but still it kind of hit you. And, you know, behind that was like feelings of sadness, feelings of anger. And we'll get more into that. But it just hit me. But one thing that I didn't, like, I was happy because when I do think about him, like, I can't think of anything bad, like, about him. Like, he loved me and he let me know that. Whenever I saw him, his face lit up. He supported me. He told me he was proud of me. You know, when I was running the streets being, you know, a hoochie mama, he made sure he woke me up every morning for work, for college, because he was a man that was about his business and he wanted to make sure that I was about my business. I am happy that in my adult life, he got to see me progress and do the things. He had Thanksgiving, you know, at our first home that we had. I know it was once. Was it twice? Okay. You know, he met my husband, so he knew that I had a great man in my life, and he knew I was. Together. Yeah, he knew I was being taken care of. He used to call you Jamar, Jamar. That's my way I stop myself from crying, y'all. You know, I'm just happy that he got to see parts of my life and knowing that I'm good, and I know that, you know, he was proud of me when he was lucid, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, because in his latter years he was suffering from dementia, but I know that at least he got a chance to see that when he was aware, and I'm proud of that. And I feel it makes me happy to know that I made him proud. You know, he's not here. I was able to see him one last time after not seeing him for a couple years. And not that I was happy that he was in the hospital, but everything happens for a reason. You know, he had a small bout of the flu, so he had to leave from the home where he was living with family members to be in the hospital for a week or so, which now I got a chance to see him, you know, and then he went back there and he transitioned. So I'm just happy that I was able to see him one last time, touch him one last time. So yeah, that, all of that is my woe. To end on a brighter note, my wow is just having the amazing husband and support system that I have. Yeah, because through therapy, I know that has been a tremendous help, with my husband, with my she mom, just, you know, having those people remind me of, you know, how to process my feelings. You know, everybody grieves differently. I'm not a big social media griever, and no shade to anybody that is.
Calling on prayer warriors.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, it's funny because people will post stuff on social media and then say, please allow my family time to grieve or process this, almost like leave us alone right now. But why tell people, you know? And I don't feel like you shouldn't tell people, but you know what's to come with it. I'm just kind of weird in that way, and I'm not saying other people are weird for posting it. I think I'm the weird one where I don't like posting stuff, because you know it's to be expected of that. 100 messages of people expressing their condolences, which is a beautiful thing. I just don't need that or desire that attention. You know, the people that know my grandpa, I, you know, let them know, friends who may not have known otherwise, and then other friends who may have seen messages on family members' pages, they text me to express condolences, and I appreciate it all. But I'm just not one that, you know, does that.
Seeks that out. Yeah,
I'm just not one that does that. But, you know, I'm just grateful for you, and thank you for your support. I'm always worried about, oh, if I'm sad and I tell you, then that makes you sad, and now I'm worried about you being sad for me because you're worried about me being sad. And I learned to just let you care about me, and you know, let you take care of me. You know, on the day that, you know, I found out, I wanted to go to the gym, to be honest. And in my mind, I kind of knew it was a bad idea, because I felt like, you know, I listen to gospel music when I work out. Like, sometimes I listen to, you know, some hip hop or whatever, or like, you know, some ratchet music. But most of the times I listen to Tasha Cobbs. Because I don't know, it just feels good to me. And I thought to myself, the wrong song come on, I'm going to be a wreck in this gym.
You don't think I thought about that?
Yeah,
You said, you know, babe, you can go to the gym, I'll go with you. And it was like, like, let's just sit in this for a minute and think about this. But because I can imagine, like, looking over, like, oh,
because you know what I be listening
to. Like, oh, is she good? Like, God damn it. Like, oh, shit. She gonna fall on the goddamn
Yes, and that's what I was thinking.
Like, baby, you can't just stop on it.
So, you know, but in that moment, I felt like I needed to do something to release those emotions, and I don't know if that's a form of suppression, which ain't good.
I was going to say, it's not that you, and that's the wrong word. You wasn't trying to release it. You was just trying to do something to ignore how bad I'm feeling.
And to I know working out makes me feel good.
Yeah, let me do that and concentrate on this hurting, this making me feel good. I'm doing this exercise for an hour and a half, and I ain't thinking about that because I don't want to feel that yet. But it's like, nah, babe, like, that's not what we learned. Like, if you not okay, say you not okay, and it's cool. I'll sit here with you for hours. Like, I ain't got to watch no Joe Budden or listen to nothing. Like, this is a time we need to sit and just feel what we need to feel. Yeah. And that's how we get past it and be better and not, like, angry and shit like that.
Yeah, and I think that exertion of energy, too, just kind of like gives you a boost. I think that's what I was looking for. Almost like in your mind, like if you want to like, and we're not runners. Like we try to add a little bit of run for like 60 seconds to boost our heart rate. But I almost felt like I just want to get on the treadmill and run as hard as I can for as long as I can, which might have been 30 seconds.
30 minutes, you'd have looked down like 18 seconds.
Yes, just like a way of screaming, but through the treadmill.
Your energy and saying that, and it was like if you was with somebody that didn't know you or paid attention to you, they'd be like, all right. But that's a bad idea. And the alternative was just like, let's just go for a walk.
And
let's go to the park. Let's be around some nature. Let's talk, let's walk, let's not talk, let's be silent, let's cry, like let's laugh, but let's just go outside and breathe some air. And then that was a better feeling, I think, than if we'd have went to the stuffy gym with people all around us and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, and it's so weird how life, kind of mimics or mirrors itself in certain ways, because me checking on my youngest sister, like to see if she's all right, she says, yeah, I'm getting ready to go for a walk. And I'm like, that's exactly what we were doing, but I understood like why. And she went on a long walk that
4 miles.
Yeah, that 4 miles she did. We gotta get back there. But yeah, so that was that. But one of the things that I was thinking about and processing my feelings was the idea of guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I feel like and this is just Tasha logic. I don't know if it's no psychology behind this, so I ain't saying this to be true. Sometimes I feel like some people grieve so hard about, death or just things in general, because of some guilt associated with it. And one of the things I thought about was I there were some things that I felt guilty about in terms of my grandfather, but for the most part, I felt like, I can sleep good at night knowing that, I did the right thing by him, within my life. So it helped, and I think that helps me to feel better. Like if I had put off the last time that I was going to see him, say, I'll go another time, and didn't have the opportunity, I think I would be even more sad than I am.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did, find like have a little guilt about was thinking, throughout your 23 years, our 23 years, 20 years, I'll say.
No, it's 23.
Well, you were in it for 23. Yeah. I was in it for 20 with you. Was that, I did not go to see him as often as I wanted to, just because of the area where he lived in, and that potentially putting my husband in jeopardy. So I allowed that I put that boundary in place. Now, he still came to our home. I seen him at my mom's place, but I didn't have as much interaction with him as I would have liked over the years. Now, he may not have liked it, because my grandpa was kind of the dude like, I'm good. Like, leave me alone. I don't want a whole bunch of people around. I don't want a whole bunch of noise. My grandma passed 23 years ago. So, or 21 years ago. I'm sorry. So he wasn't like, he didn't want a whole
butterfly.
Yeah, he didn't want a whole bunch of hoorah
like she said,
around.
He was about his business. He was the type to just sit down, be quiet, and just be him.
Yeah, so he may have been fine with the frequency in which he saw me, but I think I thought about that. And then even when you gained your freedom, and I kind of kept putting it off, and then he ended up getting sick and having to go stay with his daughter, so that like put an even bigger barrier between us. Mm-hmm. So like that, but again, I felt like, what, he knew that I loved him, and I knew that he loved me, so I pushed that aside. Where I think I would feel sadder if I did have that on my conscience. Is there some things in life that you hold on to or like have guilt for?
Hell yeah. First off, I disagree with if people are grieving hard that it's associated with guilt. I think
sometimes.
I know. I think a lot of people just have strong relationships with people. Mm-hmm. You think about somebody who speak to their parent 5-6 times a day, and then they lose them. It's like they're going to grieve hard, even though there's no guilt attached to it. So that part I disagree with. But yeah, I do carry guilt about my Nana, because she was at a place where I didn't frequent a lot, so I didn't have as much interaction as I would have liked to. There was times where she lived at her own house where I wanted to go see her, and because she took care of me so much, she would let me know it's not safe to come here. So there was times where I wanted to reach out to her or see her by myself or drive there after work when nobody knew, like I would come through there, and she would be like, no, babe, like that's not the right thing to do. Like I don't want to see nothing happen to you. So yeah, I do regret not seeing her as much as I thought about her. I also have guilt about the things that I did in my life, like robberies and shit like that, and putting a gun in people's face like that. That shit haunts me to this day. Like, I'm just not that person anymore. And when I think about it, it kind of makes me emotional because I scared a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I scared the shit out of a lot of people and did a lot of wrong to people. So when I think about who I am today, I'm so far removed from that when I think like, damn, that's still a part of my history. That's still a part of my story.
That's when you jack
I feel guilt like a motherfucker about that. When I see shit on TV or they talk to a witness and somebody say like, damn, they put a gun in my face and I thought they was gonna kill me. Like, that shit breaks my heart because it's like I did that before. And so, yeah, I carry guilt like that about those two things in particular.
That's understandable. Now, are there some things or a thing that maybe you feel guilty about, but when you really think about it, it really wasn't your fault, but it's like something you got to shake, or maybe you've already shaken it off, but you had to get to that point?
Yeah. Well, I think it would probably be the latter.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be that. Much more over because I know my Nana loved me. I know how I felt about her.
So the former, the first thing about your name. Okay.
No, I'm talking about the latter, the last thing. I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm
saying
sorry. Like, I know how that relationship and situation was, so that doesn't bother me to this day.
Okay.
It's just a thing that I hold like, okay, I feel guilty about that because I put myself in a situation where I couldn't just go see her when I wanted to.
Okay.
But the stuff that I've done, like, I can't escape that. Like, I really can't escape that. When I look back over my life and the things that I've been through, the things that I've done, what I like, just being on a run and all that kind of stuff, like, it's like, when I think about who I am now and the things I think about now, how connected to God I am now, how deep I'm in love with you, like, that person was still me, but not this me. And this me would, like, not shame that person because it's like, that's little me, but it's like, damn, like.
So I don't want to say forgiving yourself, but has yourself now allowed yourself to let go of some of that guilt.
I forgive myself because I have to move on, but I still hold on to the shame of it.
Okay.
I still hold on to the shame of it.
Yeah.
One of the things, it's like, you know, a person being proud they're a drug dealer. Like, that's just not proud stuff in my life that I'm proud of.
Yeah. One of the things that, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, and it's been on my mind heavy the last couple days because I know through therapy that it is, and I don't even know if I've talked about it in therapy, to be honest, but I know through other tools that I've gained through therapy that I've been telling myself, like, girl, you tripping. This is not your fault. For a long time, I've like kind of blamed myself for my family's dynamics. Wow. So just to kind of, you know, break things down to y'all, right? And I may have hinted to this a little bit. Like, when I was a kid, I was molested by a family member, not a blood family member, somebody's husband. And I didn't tell immediately, right? Because I felt, one, as a kid, it was like this thing of, oh my goodness, who's going to be, you know, mad at me, or who's going to be mad at, you know, my mom, and yada, yada, yada. So it's like me caring about other people's feelings. And I don't know, we could talk about that too, but I don't know as a kid where you learn to like think about that. But, you know, because of that, as a kid, I had to endure certain situations and environments that didn't make me comfortable. But when I was grown, and thank God for my husband, who really empowered me to be like, yo, you don't have to deal with this. Like, you don't have to be around people that make you uncomfortable. And I really started standing firm in that. But when I look at the dynamics of my family and I don't want to say the dysfunction, but the disruption or the breaks or the disconnection, even like it kind of floods into my mind every now and then. Even currently, I think like, damn, things are the way they are because of me. And I know that's horrible to think because it happened to me, but it's not my fault. It's the pedophile's fault.
Right.
But it's one of those things that even recently, like I had to tell myself, like I had to like literally tell myself, stop. Like, you're feeling guilty for this and this is not your fault. And it's crazy how like your mind can kind of trick you into that guilt to feel something when it's like, nah, like you did the right thing. You know, however the pieces fell as a result of that is not your fault. It's just the effects of it, but it's not your fault. You shouldn't feel guilty. But it's like guilt is one of them things that, and I feel like this is why therapy I think is so important, because can you imagine how many people carry things with them that if they don't have the tools to kind of dig I visualize it as like digging a mess off of top of it so you can break free from it and realize that it ain't yours to carry.
You just down there and the guilt with you every day. But hell no, it's not your fault that what happened to you as a child. That's the pedophile's fault. That's his fault. So hell no, that's not your fault. In no way, shape, or form do I agree with that. And I know you're not saying like that's something you stuck on, but just the fact that you felt that is like, wow. And as a kid, I think we're pure and impressionable. I don't think like kids know that they care like that. Like every kid cares like that. It's just because you young and untampered with. You, for lack of a better term, unmolested, and you just pure. So you care. You want things to be nice. You're a kid. You want a great childhood. You want people to be happy every day. You know what it's like when people are upset or mean or there's friction in the family. So you just want everybody to be okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think most kids they want that. I wanted that as a kid. Probably not as bad as you, or it wasn't a thing for me. But as a kid, yeah, I didn't want people to be upset at all. I didn't care about it as much as you, but I do know that I didn't want people to be upset. I didn't want my family to argue. I didn't want to have a disconnection with my brother. Like, I wanted everybody to be cool, but the fact was, it wasn't. So that's what it was for me.
Now I know how strong-minded you are now, and I can imagine as a kid you were the same way in a childlike way though. But were there ever circumstances where you put other people's feelings before your own? Like I said, for me, literally, I can remember the flood of thoughts in my mind thinking, if I say this, then these people are going to stop talking to my mom. My mom is going to be by herself. She's not going to have these people, and yada, yada, yada. And it was like my mind rationalizing, okay, why it's okay to store this away and hide it and not say.
You know what that is? What happened to you in that moment, growing up like that. Like whatever happened to you was not supposed to happen to you. And in that moment, your mind having all these adult thoughts about how to protect people, and it's like you're the one that should be protected in this moment. Like you're thinking about how am I going to protect people who 30 years older than me? Like, no, like y'all should be trying to protect me. And however this cookie crumbles, however it falls, that's how it was supposed to when it comes to shit like that. It's like I don't give a fuck if nobody don't speak no more. I'm the one that it happened to. I'm the one that has to live with this. So fuck all of this. Like it's about me at that point. So that's how and again, this never happened to me, and I'm a man, so it's like I can say that, but that don't mean necessarily people would carry it that way.
It's weird that not weird, but the fact that you say that, you being a man, I think women and men, or girls and boys who are molested, because the facts are both genders don't, in a lot of cases, unfortunately, don't tell, but I think for different reasons. Like boys, I think it's more of a shame. Especially when it's a man who has done it, because women molest boys too. Yeah. But I think when it's a man who's molested a boy, it's a different shame. Especially, when they feel like
they've been violated.
But in a sense of like, it's another man, like in a homosexual way, and they feel like
you feel taken advantage of.
Yeah. Where a girl, I think it's guilt, it's shame. You feel like you're gonna be blamed. People gonna think you're being fresh. People gonna think like, well, what did you do?
And so
or
many
did
girls
you want
think
it?
That it's almost like it's pre-wired in y'all. But so many girls have that same story of I didn't tell because I didn't want my family to break up, or I was scared, or I just didn't want to disrupt. And it's like that's the story of a lot of girls who that happened to. And it's like it's almost like you would think, like, why are y'all wired that way? And it's like, I don't know, as a boy, right? And there's nobody ever tried me as a boy, but I remember being young and just so aware. And it was like, I say this now as a man, but it's like I thought like I couldn't be taken advantage of. Now, if somebody would have forced themselves on me and been stronger than me, like I'm a boy, like what could I do with a man? So I don't know what would have happened in that sense. But for somebody to what do you
like
call that word? Yeah, like coax
something.
me into something. Come get this puppy. You want some candy? Come to my van. I was way too aware of that. A teacher putting his hand on my shoulder in class, I was way too aware of that shit to be like, nah, like don't touch me, or I would look at your hand and you would definitely get it off me. I ain't coming nowhere for no dog. No, you can't touch. Like I was super aware of that. Now again, if
but
somebody forced
so when you
themselves,
talk about that, like in terms of, oh, help me find my puppy that's with a stranger, how do you think the reaction would have been if it's again somebody
uncle,
who's supposed to, a uncle, a cousin, somebody who's supposed to, you're supposed to trust?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because it never happened. I would just think that my awareness of that, those small things, again, I don't know what the feeling would come over me if I'm super scared. In those moments, I'm not scared. Mm-hmm. Some guy calling me about a puppy, or do I want some candy?
Right, you just know how to respond.
Yeah,
right.
But if an uncle or a cousin or a brother forced himself on me and he's stronger than me and he's got man strength, I don't know how I would feel. I might feel scared that he could probably hurt me again.
Yeah.
Or I might feel like I'm about to yell this from the top of my lungs.
Yeah, and it's one of those questions too where it's like anybody can think how they would feel until you're in that situation. And it's weird you talk about your awareness, because as a kid,
and I wasn't taught that. That was my point. Nobody sat me down and taught me that. So I don't know what that is between boys and girls, that it like, it's not saying like I am saying like we're just wired differently in a way like that. But nobody sat me down and said,
I don't know if it's a boys and girls thing or if you know what I mean?
Good touch, bad touch, I learned as a grown-up. I never even heard that about that as a kid. But again, nobody sat me down and said this stuff. It was just like I was just aware of those little things.
And it's one of those things too where when you talk about your awareness, I had awareness when it came to strangers, because I'll never forget John Walsh from America's Most Wanted, when his son Adam was kidnapped in the supermarket. My mom had that conversation, like, if anybody, we had a secret password. If anybody come up to the school and say, oh, your mom and dad told me to come pick you up, ask them if they know the password. So like,
and that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, I was aware of that.
Yeah, like that stranger danger thing. But we never had like a good touch, bad touch conversation. It was never a thing of, and I can just, it's almost like I can remember myself being such a free go, like kind of the person that I am now, like free going child, like, I was kind of a bossy kid, like more of like a leader.
Control freak.
Well, as a kid, not even a control freak, but just in charge. I was
Synonym.
The oldest of, one of my cousins who I was really close with. She was 6 months older. We were the same age. She was 6 months older than me. But I was like kind of the one always in charge, maybe because I was bossy. But I mean like free spirited. That's the word. And then I remember turning into that kid that then became aware because of what happened to me.
Paranoid.
But it wasn't even like in a sense of like being jittery or afraid, but just now being completely aware. And at that point, I knew like, nah, nobody else, I will never. And I think maybe that's where some of my that consonants come from, where like nobody ain't never gonna hurt me again. Like,
was it towards grown-ups? Because you still were a child. So was it like now? Well, first, it's two questions. Was that the first time that you felt like, okay, now I'm scared? And you know what I mean? Not like frightened by a ghost, but I know what this feeling of being scared is, and I'm 12 years old. But and also now I know grown-ups can hurt like little kids. Like I heard, I might have saw it on TV or seen it on a news or something, but now it's in my vicinity that grown-ups can hurt kids.
I don't think I looked at it as being hurt. I think my feelings were hurt because it was like why would you do that to me? Like, why did you think that was okay? So I think it was more of a mental thing. I didn't feel because I think at that age you associate hurt and abuse with physical, right? And I wasn't raped as a kid, so I didn't associate it with any physical pain. I think it was more like heartbreak. Like I remember crying profusely and not even saying anything, but just crying so bad because it was like, nah, I knew this was wrong. I couldn't believe this happened. Like, why did you... And maybe now that I think about it, I don't think I ever associated with fear until right now. And thinking like, I was mad that you made me scared. Like, I was mad that I was put in a situation. And like, I had this whole escape plan. Like, you know, like some crazy stuff you see in movies.
You think
like
that was a buildup of the anger, the heartbreak, and the fact that that's all a part of, I know this has to come out?
What? I'm sorry.
Like, I have to tell this. Like, I'm scared. You made me scared. You hurt me. I'm angry. But all this is a part of I know this is wrong, and I have to say something about this, and I'm mad about when this comes out, what it's going to be.
No, because to be honest, I never told anybody what fully happened. For 4 years, everybody kind of knew like something happened, but nobody really knew the details of what happened. And for 4 years, I never said anything. What happened was, I'll never forget a lady at church. She had this book, or somebody was selling books or something. And long story short, it was a book about forgiveness. And me, 16 years old, like, I wrote a letter to the author. Like, who are you to tell people that they need to forgive everybody? Like, what if somebody did this to you? How do you tell them? Like, I call myself telling this person off.
Taking it back.
Yes. And I had it stashed inside the book. And it's just so crazy, like how moms, nowadays they talk about moms need to rummage through kids' rooms, find these guns and stuff. I hated them, but my mom went through our room. She read diaries. She bust open diaries that had locks. But this random ass book, you know, this letter stuffed in the back, she found it. And I came home from school one day and she was outside sweeping. Like, it's so weird because I can remember it like yesterday. She was outside sweeping up the pavement. I know people in the hood don't sweep up, but you know, she did keep the front clean. And I'm walking in the street. She like, hey, how was your day today? I'm like, it was good. And she's like, so why didn't you ever tell about, you know, everything that happened? And I was just like, what?
Really,
so that's how it came out. So I had never, like, so to your point, I don't even know when or if I would have.
Wow.
I mean, I hope that I would have. And that's why I'm so passionate.
Even walking home that day, you had no intention of telling.
No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't on my mom. My intention was...
You had a good day at school and it was like, all right, I'm about to have my evening.
And me and my mom did not always get along. We didn't always have good days. But I remember coming home like, yeah.
And at that point, it was 4 years ago.
Exactly. So I had kind of... in myself, because like even in situations where I had to see, I tried to minimize as to the best of my ability, the situations where I had to encounter this person. It was hard, but I tried. But I had suppressed it enough for myself, but that book, and that's how I knew it didn't go away, of course, because that book was like, nah. And I had never told anybody, like not a friend, not a cousin, not like I had never told anybody. And that brought it all out, was like, nah. So I don't know when or if I would have ever said anything. That's why I'm so passionate about talking to my nieces and nephews, and about to children in general, about how important it is to tell if something ever happens to you. That, like, when we will watch Intervention and you see so many people who are strung out on drugs, the pain of that crushes you, or it can crush you, because I know there's some people, I thank God that I'm living a life that I am, but I don't know how I would have felt if I had never said anything. I'm
sorry not to cut you off. It pains me to like I've done things in my life, but I can't look at a person and know, like, you've been on the run. Like, it hurts me that you can look at somebody and be like, that person was molested, and 98% of the time
you know I'm right.
Yeah, it's like something you can see in them.
I
could be looking at the same thing and be like, nah, you wrong on this one. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, 2 commercials later, it comes up that it's true. And it's like, wow, like, what?
It's just a certain kind of pain. It's a certain kind of pain that breaks people. Like, and again, on Intervention, you see some people who, they was hanging with a friend, or they had a boyfriend, and they, talked them into doing a line, and then it got out of control. But there's some people that you see, and I don't know, I'm sure, our resource in life, may have that same ability, but it's just something in people that I can see when they're talking, when they're telling this. That's why I'm so passionate about when I see kids that look like they might be in danger or something, like making eye contact with them, speaking, talking to them, because body language is body language. I don't care, what age you are, how you talk to people, your lack of ability to look in people's eyes, or that look of like, is this person going to rescue me? Mm-hmm. Or just that look where, sometimes you see on Intervention, people close their eyes, they can't talk because it hurts so bad. Like, that pain is palpable. Like, you can almost feel it when it has happened. So it's not a good thing. Like, I hate when I see that, and it's like, I know what happened to her, mm-hmm. but it's something that you can just see. But to your point, I don't think in all cases it's something, like you said, it wasn't something you were taught. I think it comes through bad nurturing through families. Why is it, do you think, that, and I don't think this is a Black thing. I don't think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a societal thing where so many families hide the dirty laundry. We got the stereotype about Uncle Pete, keep the kids away from Uncle Pete up in the back room. But that ain't funny.
No.
But why is it that families, why is it that families just accept that?
It's a two-part answer. It is a societal thing, because there are white families who keep shame in the family, kids on drugs or whatever, the husband out there creeping, whatever the fuck they hiding. But it's a cultural thing with Black people, and that shit started with slaves. Like, when you want to go back that far, it started with slaves, like, keep everything in-house. And some of that
not
shit,
wanting to tell the cops.
Yeah, not wanting to tell the cops, not wanting the slave master to hear, to know, all this broken language shit, like, all that shit was an effort to keep things internal. And that shit is bred in Black people. Like, it's like a part of us. Like, you don't air dirty laundry. What happens in the house, you keep it in the house. Like, your mom on crack, your sister a whore, like, whatever that shit is, you keep it inside. You don't talk about it. You don't even have discussions in-house. It's just like an unsaid thing. Like, it just lays there. Everybody know about Uncle Pete, or everybody know your sister a whore and fucked everybody in the neighborhood, but don't nobody say nothing about it, because it's just a keep the peace type thing. But it's bred in Black people to do that, to keep everything. And then behind the whole snitching thing, why you think Black people care about that so much? because it's like it goes against morals. It goes against what's in you to not tell. When you 5 years old and you telling on your brothers, your older brother hit you, your mom say, your dad say, don't be a tattletale. Nobody like a stool pigeon. So that shit's in you from a child not to tell.
Yeah.
So if it's like, don't nobody like a stool pigeon, don't nobody like a tattletale, it's like, damn, he punched me in the head for no reason.
And I'm not supposed
to tell. And you start to think, okay, somebody hurt me, I don't say nothing. When something bad happened, I don't say nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's ignorance. It's ignorance, and I think it's bred in us from slavery, especially black people. Now, in other cultures, it does happen, but for black people, that shit is inherent.
I never even associated the two, but that as you started talking, it definitely makes sense. It connects the dots, at least in my mind. Y'all might have a different opinion, and if so, let us know in the comments and share, but it definitely connects the dots in my mind. Last question I want to ask you, because this is something you know about me, I know about me, God knows about me, and it's a struggle, and it's really a struggle. Forgiveness. Do you know how to forgive?
On the surface. I think enough on the surface, and it's not something that I carried my whole life. I learned this over the past 4 or 5 years. I've learned it to apply this to my life, but because it actually, the cliche is right, it's for you. And when you do set down that shit, or when you do tell yourself, I forgive, then when that shit comes back up, the anger isn't as strong. Especially when you do it through God, it's not that strong. And it's not that easy to do, especially depending on the circumstances in which you're forgiven for. Right. So, yeah, it's not that easy to do. It's not something you should be upset or perturbed with yourself with because you can't forgive somebody who did a horrific thing to you. Or a child that had a horrific childhood and you can't forgive your parents. It's like, okay, if you can't, you can't. It just is what it is. Now for people, and again, I say on the surface because I'm more of I can disconnect, I forgive you, but I don't have to see you no more. But when I do get around you, I am uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is what I guess makes me feel a little bit good about myself, but also it's like, sheesh, I realize I do know how to forgive. Like, there are people in my life who have wronged me that I really do forgive. I don't want you near me. But I mean on a different level of like, I don't want you near me and there's no reconnection, but I truly wholeheartedly forgive you. And I'm happy that I can say that and know that I mean it from the bottom of my heart. But then
I think that's why you made it this far.
Yeah.
Is because you have forgiven some people in your life, so you know what that's like. It's just some people. It's like, wow, I don't know how to do that. I don't think you want to, and that's cool too. You know how to, you just don't want to, and that's cool. That's the thing I've been trying to get you to understand. Like, I don't
think you ever told me that. That makes sense.
No, I told you. I said you've forgiven friends. You went through it with your sister. You forgiven her. You went through it with a lot of stuff in your life that we've been together for 23 years. So I've seen you forgive. You had your best friend Toya. Y'all went through something. You forgive there. So I've seen you forgive people, but you just don't want to. And for the circumstances and under which you don't want to, that's cool. This isn't a thing where somebody stole your pen or stole $100 out of your mattress and you're just like, damn, Taj, after 20 years, you don't want to forgive $100? No, this ain't that. This is something on a different level. And if you don't want to forgive, okay, cool. I understand. Everybody understands.
I know, but I've never thought about it. And maybe you have said that to me, and my mind was stuck somewhere else, or something was blocking
I've said it quite a few times.
Me internalizing it. But I never thought about that I don't want to, because my focus was always on I don't know how. But now I think, like life has shown me. This is why
it's not done yet, because I don't know how. And it's like, it doesn't never have to be done. It's like, I don't want to. I'm in charge of this.
That's some honesty for your ass. You got to admit to yourself, do you really want to forgive
something
this
happened
person?
to me. I'm in charge of this now, and I don't want to.
I gotta talk to God about that.
I choose not to.
I know God don't like that. I gotta talk to him about that.
I know God don't like what happened to you. And I think if you ever got to the point where it's judgment day, I don't think you'd be judged for not forgiving somebody who did something like that to you. You are a child, an innocent child. So no, there should be protection amongst children. The adults, the men, the women, we all can fend for ourselves. But the little people, fuck no. And when you hurt little people, then you should get what's coming to you. And God will have a plan for you. You'll see. You'll see in this life or the next one, but you'll see.
Wow.
3 grams. We ain't got 3, but we got 1 and a big one. The Baltimore Bridge collapse.
That, when I first seen the video, I thought
it was AI.
I thought I was watching something old, like, oh, they're imploding a bridge that they took. I had I seen it probably 2 or 3 hours after it happened, because it happened like 1:30 in the morning. I looked after you left for work, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm reading like, wait, this is like current just now, like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Rest in peace to everybody who perished on that bridge. But this is a bridge that carries 750,000.
This was 695.
Yeah.
This was a major highway.
Yeah.
Like, that was a major highway. I got beef though with the officials and how they're reporting on the people whose lives were lost. Like, they're acknowledging the construction workers. There were 8 on the bridge. 2 were rescued. The other 6 weren't found. But there were cars there too, and I understand they still have to do some investigation, find out. They said they saw 5 cars, find out how many people, but at least acknowledge to say we are still investigating. They just kind of saying, oh, the 8 people, 6, we couldn't rescue. We know there had to be other cars, and I understand you don't want to maybe it's a thing where it's wow, they don't want to tell people how horrific the catastrophe was, but it's going to come out eventually. So I think it would be better to just put it on the table than just kind of be dismissive of those other lives lost.
They might have botched it, but I don't think they intentionally just dismissed the lives. I just think they botched it. And I even saw a tone-deaf reporter today asking a law official down there, when will the bridge be built again? And he stopped and he was like, hey, man, we
didn't even get the bodies out the water. He was
don't nobody care about that. And he was like, we shouldn't even be asking questions like that. This body's in the water. We have to get those out. That's the only questions we should be taking and talking about. Nobody cares about when the bridge is getting built again.
Yeah.
And he flat out told them, nobody cares. Nobody's even thinking about that. We're thinking about how do we get these bodies out of the water and then identify them and then tell their families. Nobody gives a shit about how the bridge is getting built.
I'm happy he responded that
way. But yeah,
this ain't the time for political correctness.
Yeah, so you want to put a timeline on how fast we build a bridge? You got to be kidding me, dude. You talking about 14 to 20 people dead? Nah, I thank God that wasn't 8:30 in the morning.
Huh? Yeah.
When it's flowing with cars, she said, that's 695. That would have been cars crazy. That would have been a movie catastrophe in the water. You talking about 5 cars, that would have been 50, 60 cars in the water. Easily. So yeah, I that's the silver lining.
Or 8:30 p.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have been 4 hours later, a couple hours.
And apparently
earlier.
the ship lost control and was just drifting. And it was hope. I guess it was hoping it was going to make it through, but it didn't. It hit the fucking thing and collapsed the whole bridge. That's crazy. But rest in peace to those people. Condolences to all those families. That's a bad thing to have happen in your city. And
to the men who were rescued, if they didn't believe in God before,
that's one of the things where you were rescued from the towers. Man, we saw that man. That's the kind of catastrophe where it's how the fuck did you live from the towers? It's you was a worker on the bridge and it collapsed and you lived. Yeah, man. That's crazy.
Ooh, yes.
And talk about what we just talked about, carrying guilt. What if you
that's survivor's remorse.
And your friends died.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Last and final gram is what everybody's talking about is the Puffy raids. This has hit mainstream media like crazy. Apparently that everybody's saying he had wind of this because he was at a party the night before looking kind of down and out, which, well, I don't know why you would at a party. I thought you were supposed to be laying low, but at a party looking kind of out in gloom. And then the police raided his houses simultaneously in different states.
And he was in the Caribbean.
Yeah, and they was tracking his plane. Like, they was watching his plane on a monitor, like they knew that it was flying over Puerto Rico and landed in Antigua. And he wasn't even on it.
Oh.
Yeah, he wasn't. It was Cassie's best friend or some shit was on the plane. I mean, not Cassie, Young Miami was the girl. So what they call her?
JT?
Her real name.
Oh, Carisha?
Yeah, that's what they said. It was Carisha's best friend or some shit was going somewhere where Carisha was.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
He wasn't even on it.
That's crazy. So where is he?
And he sold his shares to
Revolt. I did
Revolt.
see that. They said to an unknown person.
But they said it's still black owned, so it was a black person. He probably sold to Jay.
Which is good because that stops because you think, okay, there's a lot of brands associated with Revolt. I think that was good of him to do so that other people's money isn't impacted by the collapse. Now, if he says, you know what, I'm going to detach myself from this, let the company operate without me, I don't have anything to do with it. So all the other people that's eating that has a career built off of it, their lives aren't turned upside down because of any wrongdoing.
That's the least you can do for being the devil. This is no different to me than some R. Kelly shit. Like, you with these parties and these fiascos you throw in, these yacht parties and these legendary puffy parties that everybody talk about. It makes you just think like the dots connect when all this shit comes. Homeland Security don't come for you unless they got a case. Yeah. There's a lot of money for them to spend to show up like that in different coasts, in different states, in different time zones, and hit your houses at the same time. And then they got this mule that they found at the airport that they say is your drug dealer who got caught with cocaine and weed on him. And why is it that, like, when you think about now when shit come, like when R. Kelly, his shit hit, everybody thought, oh shit, 12 play. Mm-hmm. But like when this hit, it's like you think, why did so many people, Mace was just asked the other day, are you glad you left rap? And he was like, yeah, I wanted to do it. It was the best thing I did, like the stuff I was seeing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why does everybody that had dealings with this dude, Mace, Loon, Craig Mack, all these people left to save their souls. Religious. Yeah, like it was like probably the shit that I'm seeing is not like it doesn't sit well with me. Like I got to get away from this shit and change guides because I've been exposed to way too much. Well, and it makes you want to think about everybody. Like, at these parties, there's A-list people all over the place. Like, there's not just like B-list celebrities, there's A-list celebrities. So what did they see? And why
the people that he's
it ain't
super
more
close
why
to,
it ain't more people
Campbell.
Yeah, why it ain't more people coming out saying like, or is the reason why it's so quiet is because a lot of these people may be in pictures and on film at these parties. You everybody is saying now, where did Jay go? And I don't know what that means, but it's like, okay, he was at basketball games and football games, all of a sudden gone because this is just a conspiracy thing. Did he know this was coming down the pipe?
Well, I mean, but one thing you have to remember, just because somebody him and Puffy obviously seem to have had a friendship prior to this. Like, you could see them in LA and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that they participated in all of the I can't imagine J or B being in the shenanigans that Puffy was into. They may have been homies. Okay, when it's a cookout at the Rock Nation brunch, we getting dressed up to do something fly.
Could have been. But I want to believe that. I'm just saying.
But it doesn't mean
they're not
all
the
of
only
his friends.
A-listers there, like A-list actors, entertainers,
think about how
titans of industry. Like, what was they doing in these parties? What did they see that ain't nobody saying, oh, he innocent? No, because a lot of y'all might have been on tape. A lot of y'all might be in pictures. Well, let the feds find a hard drive of some shit.
Well, let's just say this, though. The parties, they may have been lewd. They may have been extremely freaky. It doesn't mean they were illegal. Now, if they included young girls, underage girls
Or boys.
Or boys, girls or boys that were sex trafficked, then that's a different conversation. And again, it doesn't mean that everybody who was at the parties may have participated in that capacity. Like, okay, you could have been at the party and be like, yeah, I was here and I was getting my freak on. A man could be like, I was getting my freak on with this boy all night, but he was 23 years old and we did some real nasty stuff, but it wasn't illegal. So I don't think everybody that's there makes them culpable.
But would you want to be associated with it at this point, knowing they're about to get him for the shit that he did when you left? But you still was on film or in pictures in that room.
No, I wouldn't want to be associated, but at the same time, it would be like, you know what? Ask me whatever you want. I'll tell you what I did.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to be grand jury, and it's like, okay, what happened at these parties? Tell the truth.
I was butt naked, and I was
it young
busy.
Girls there?
It may have been, but I ain't asked for no ID, but I didn't touch them.
Did you think young girls were there?
They look fairly young, but, you got some 25-year-olds that look 17.
Thank you for your testimony.
I don't
move on. But they're going to be like that. All right, she got it on the record. She thought they was young.
I don't know. Looking young is subjective. Young compared to who? Did they look younger than 30? Did they look younger than 20?
We're talking like court. They're going to be like, did they look teenage, young girls, underage, under 18, 17? Did they look like that?
I would say, I don't know what the difference is between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. They look the same. It's even
worse if you say they wasn't American. It's like, they wasn't? Where were they from? Bosnia?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm sure there are some other people that are guilty of some of the crimes that he has been accused of. I think whatever he did...
His sons was in handcuffs. It's like...
Whatever he did, I'm sure he'll get the punishment he receives. But for his children, it makes me feel a little bad for, his young daughters. They got to go to school. But I'm sure they probably been pulled out of school this week.
I feel bad for his kids. I don't feel bad for him if he did this.
Yeah.
If he did this shit, I don't feel bad for you at all.
No, for his kids.
Yeah, for his kid. Now, again, his kids own stuff with him and... So,
I'm talking about the ones, his daughters that are, in the 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Yeah. They're in high school. No, they're in high school. So I'm sure they probably now not going to school this week because who wants to be subjected to that? Now, I'm sure they go to school with other A-listers kids or other, millionaires kids, but still, who wants to be in that environment?
Yeah, and a billionaire too. So it a different level, but this is a bad thing. I think he's going to jail.
I definitely do.
This isn't no bring a black man down shit. So don't stop with that. They trying to take a black man down. Like if he trafficked women and had sex parties and had sex with young girls and filmed them and had them performing sex acts on each other, that shit is foul. Yeah. That shit is foul, man. Like you're, and then you call yourself love and all this shit. Like that's like a.
That's like a sociopath.
Yeah, it's like a mask. It's like you're the opposite of what you portray.
Who else
love, but you really hate.
I don't know if it's hate, but it's evil. You know who else you haven't seen in the midst of any of this or heard from? Who was his brother? DJ Khaled.
Because it's like I'm not going near that shit. I'm not going near that shit, dude. Like I don't know, and I don't know why you stepping out at parties. What party you going to?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that about?
To humble yourself.
Paparazzi got lenses that they can get 10 football fields. They're going to see you at a party, dude. They're going to get wind that Sean Combs is out.
But see, that makes me almost feel like he didn't have wind of this because you would think he would have been bunkered down.
Well, they said at the party he was sitting in a chair. Well, there's a video of him sitting in a chair on his phone looking disconnected from the party.
But I think that's probably because of everything that's been going on for the last couple months.
Why go to the party? To sit in a chair alone and be on your phone all disconnected?
I agree.
Maybe you got some news
but I don't think he knew they was coming.
They raiding tomorrow. Your lawyer's probably, babe, he went and got, I think 2 months ago after the Cassie situation, he went and got these high powered ass lawyers. Like really, really high powered ass, like 6 of them. So maybe they didn't get like real thick information, but he probably got wind that they're gonna raid the houses. Don't know when, but they're coming.
But that's what I'm saying. I think if he knew that, one, I don't know if he would have been home, but I think that he probably would have not had his kids there.
Well, where they gonna go? They live at the houses.
They can go. They can go to the Bel Air Hotel. They can go anywhere. I don't think he would have had them there.
I think he cleaned his houses after Cassie. I think the houses was cleaned after Cassie to his. But
I don't even think as a parent you would want to subject your children to be put in handcuffs because of your wrongdoing. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he knew. Maybe he knew.
But I don't think he knew that. I just think that the kids didn't do nothing. They're not associated with anything. So why would they do that? Again, they probably put the kids in handcuffs because we're searching the house right now. So you got to be in handcuffs. You're detained. We don't want you wandering around. So it could have been that we saw on video, not that they're going to jail.
They were being arrested,
you know
right?
what I'm
being
saying?
in handcuffs doesn't mean
you can't be wandering
arrest.
around the house while we doing this investigation, that type of shit. Yeah. So it could have been that, but so he wouldn't have known that's going to happen. He just probably thought my kids is clear. They ain't do nothing. Their names ain't on nothing. They not in no pictures or nothing. But again, these pedophiles keep stuff. Yeah, these dudes that have strange sex keep stuff. So let them search these houses and find a computer, a laptop, a old phone. Mm-hmm. Like, they keep some sex tapes.
Well, prayers for his children, for whatever they will have to endure as a result of the guidance of their father. And next week, our next episode is going to be part 2 about family secrets, and we're going to talk about the sins of a father. It says it in the Bible, and we're going to talk about what children have to endure, or do we feel like there's some karmic retribution that comes upon families because of the misdeeds of generations prior to them?
Now that you said that, I'm going to do some research this week and find out if karmic retribution is in the Bible. First of all,
you reap what you sow is how it's written in the Bible, but it's the same logic.
Oh yeah, you're all right. Yeah. I didn't even think about that fast. I probably would have found that quick.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
Act 2, the podcast, coming to a close. Episode 168. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, and Player FM is where you can find us. Bringing it to a close. Your boy, International Walk.
Your girl, Tosh, the chocolate Tosh, the co-host with the mostest.
Did you want to end with some positivity? Did you have something?
Lead with love. Be kind. You never know what someone else is going through.
And on that, we out. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.
Look at him. Has he ever gone?